So while I have been covering the Delphi murders, I became aware that a lot of you don't really know much about the 4 little girls who were unalived just 3 months prior in Carroll County. But why hasn't this case gotten as much attention as Delphi? I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Is it because they weren't white? Well, hello, my silky friends. Now that I have ticked everybody off, let's talk about Flora. And I'm just going to warn you, this case makes me very angry, and I am going to try to keep this video just on the initial events, okay? Because this one has so many tentacles, like Delphi. But let's start on November 21st, 2016, just a couple of months before the Delphi murders. Now, in the town of Flora, just a little ways up from Delphi, there was a lovely woman named Galen Rose who lived there with her 4 daughters, Kiana, Kiara, Kiani, and Carroll. Now, they were ranged in ages from, 11, 9, 7, and 5. All of the neighbors and the residents of Flora said that this was a beautiful family. The girls were always happy. They were always outside practicing, cheers, and they would always smile, wave. Galen was a single parent. From what anyone can tell, she was doing a great job. Now, in the early morning hours of November 21st, 2016, just after 3 a.m. is when the problem started. So let's take a look at the layout of the house so you can kind of see what's going on. All right, so this is the outside of the house, and you see this side entrance up to the 2nd floor. Now, Galen's bedroom was here, and on the right of the screen, you will see her bedroom. She says her bedroom door was open, and let me let you see this in her own words. This comes from the actual fire report, which is like 58 pages long. Okay, so Galen gets up and immediately tries to get to her children. And as she's trying to go up the staircase, it's just covered in smoke. She can't, and she makes it out the front door. But now let's look at the timeline. So my initial question is, your house is on fire, Josh. Why do you wait 6 minutes to call 911? Huh? The initial policeman, to my understanding, on the scene was Drew Yoder. And we have a whole video from his dash cam that has recently been released. We're going to get into that in the next video in depth. But for right now, you can clearly see Drew running in the house trying to get the children out. Here is some footage. So I have a lot of questions for another video when we are going to study the timeline in depth. But for now, let's look at the firefighters' response. Okay, you can definitely see a delay. And when we watch more of this video, you are going to see some really disturbing things. But let me just throw this out here. After the fire department arrived, it was a full 5 minutes before they started putting water to that fire. Does that seem a little excessive to you? Especially when we watch the video. Okay, to sum this up, the family, the police officers, they were unable to access that top bedroom. And so unfortunately, when the girls' bodies were brought out, they tried to save them, but it was too late. They had already passed away. Now, I also have a copy of the coroner's report, which I have read for all 4 girls. And this is basically what it says. You can clearly see that Galen was a very good mother. Those girls were very healthy, down to their dental. You know, it is mentioned of how well nourished and how, basically hygienic these girls were. They did suffer burns, but it is unknown whether it was pre or post-mortem, mostly because the cause of death was the smoke inhalation and the soot in their lungs. Also in this report, they tested them for all kind of drugs, okay? Not just illegal ones, but even sleep medicines and things like that. All 4 girls were negative. So as far as whether they didn't smell the fire because of some other source, the answer is no. Those girls were perfectly healthy when they went to sleep with 0 drugs in their system. Now, the initial investigation into the fire, that report says, that it was electrical or something like that in the kitchen area. There is no arson, no foul play. So it's just a tragic accident. Like tragic accidents just happen all the time in Carroll County. I'm just saying. It's a very, very unlucky place to live. But then, the state fire marshal, Dennis Randall, comes in, and there are some other investigations, and we will go in detail about that. But they said, no, it is arson. Arson. So now we're faced with this question: who would want to harm Galen and her 4 precious daughters? I mean, what's the point? Now, this is going to get very murky and very detailed, so that's why I'm just giving you the synopsis here. As you can tell on the video, and when we watch the actual fire video, it is horrific listening to Galen and knowing her children are perishing, okay? It's very hard to hear, and I will give you a warning when we do that video. For now, let's talk about what happened after the Flora fire, which is still unsolved today. The house is still sitting there. I mean, it's been 6 years. You can't figure out who did this? I don't buy it. Anyway, shortly thereafter, after they said it was arson, and then there's different conflicting reports about how many places, and I mean, this is just a big old mess. So then a few months later, in 2017, you have these mass resignations. Dennis Randall, the fire marshal, the state fire marshal, he resigns. His son, Adam, who is there in Flora, he resigns. And the county prosecutor, Robert Ives, resigns. I'm not saying this means anybody is guilty. To me, it looks more like people saying, I don't want to have any part of this. There is some sketchy stuff with Dennis Randall, but for now, we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, okay? As you can imagine, Galen found it impossible to stay in Carroll County anywhere, where she had to pass that house, or even here and note, I cannot imagine how you live through something like this. And so she later moved to California, and I don't blame her at all. I would want to be as far away as I could get from Carroll County. But that's for multiple reasons. But again, as we wrap this segment up, I have some real big questions for you. Why does it take 6 minutes to dial 911? Why does it take 5 minutes to start water? Why are you going to stand out on the porch and watch the fire burn before you try to control it? Things that make you go, We're also going to find some interesting names from Delphi that kind of crisscross in Flora. Maybe it's coincidence. It's a small county. It could happen. As for Delphi, that case went worldwide. So many of us are asking questions, but not too many are asking about these 4 precious little girls. So why all the attention in Delphi and not in Flora? Yeah. At some point, we're going to have to address Indiana's racism problem. Hey, I'm not casting stones. Alabama has been horrendous for it. But it is a problem, it is real, and that's why I want to know. Is this case not getting attention because of the color of these precious little girls' skin? I certainly hope not, Carroll County. Anyway, I kept it pretty calm for today. We're going to be diving more into Flora. Yeah, I'm going to make people mad. Whatever. Until next time, I hope you have a great week. And remember to always stay silky.